Hi, I'm Andy Mack. I'm down at Real World Studios today. I'm going to take you through the brand new M Audio CTRL49 with VIP integration. Now the amazing thing about the CTRL49, it's designed for producers and studio environments to really give you hands-on control over all of your VST plugins and now all of your VST effects, all in one amazing controller keyboard. So let's take a look at how this works. We're going to go to the main studio down at Real World. So 20 years ago when we was making music, we was all using sound modules. And the great thing about those days was, it was a hands-on approach. You would use the data wheel and you would be scrolling through all the sounds. But as the computer got more powerful, we had bigger libraries, better sounding libraries at our disposal. But the problem was you were confined to the mouse to find all these patches, and you're dealing with thousands of sounds. So what we've created with the CTRL49 and VIP is that efficient way of managing all of your presets. You have all of your instruments, you have all of your plugins, you have all of your effects all in front of you, because you can see these within the VIP and the CTRL49 screen, and you can access and filter all of these different types of sounds very efficiently, so you spend more time making music and less time browsing your sound sets. So let's take a closer look at the CTRL49. So on the left hand side here we have our master volume control. Then we have 8 faders here, which are all fully customizable, so you can map these in any of the popular DAWs. So when you go into MIDI mix mode, you've got full facilities here, very useful. Then below here we have our bank selection, which is really used in Mackie and Huey mode, so you can jump between different parameters. Then to the right of that we have 8 toggle controls here, and this is across 4 banks. You get 32 toggle controls. So, and they also obviously they change color as well, and we can use these for mutes or solos, and again great for your mixer environments. So let's move to the center of the CTRL49, and this is really the heart of the keyboard, because this is where the high-res color screen is, which is integrating with VIP, and it's giving you details of all the VST instruments and effects that you have, and you'll be able to browse all of your preset sounds, and we'll look at that in more depth a bit later. Now to the right of the keyboard, this is where you kind of customize the control keyboard yourself. So we can go into different setup modes depending on what DAW that you're using. We can go into global mode. We have MIDI, keyboard split, arpeggiator. We have pad control here, so we can set up stuff like drum rolls, which correspond with the RGB pads. Then we have tap tempo and time division. Then below that we have our 4 banks for the RGB pads. Then underneath the bank selection is one of my favorite sections, which is the 5 favorite buttons. Now these are kind of quick shortcuts, so you can customize the keyboard and just go to quick parameters that really kind of is customized to whatever DAW that you use or any workflow that you use. Then underneath there we have our beloved transport control, which none of us can do without. And again, this is fully customizable. And then finally we have 8 sets of rotary controls here. Now these are 360, and these really work in conjunction with VIP. So every time you load up a VST instrument or an effects plugin, you can access all of the parameters of that particular plugin. Stuff like resonance, filter control, wet and dry, reverb decays, etc., depending on what plugin you've loaded. Now underneath the rotaries we have another section of toggle controls, so we have 1 to 8. Now these work in conjunction with the pad roll facility, so you can jump between different time divisions from quarter through to 132 triplet. And they also work with VIP multi-mode, so if you want to solo each different layer that you've basically assigned within multi-mode, you can do so, which is very good for a live facility. And then finally we have our 8 velocity sensitive full RGB drum pads, and again we can just jump through the different banks here. Now if you're using stuff like drum racks or using the XS24, you can map all your own drum sounds, and then you can play everything from the pads, all from the CTRL49. So one of the most most amazing things about VIP is the patch browsing facility, because this really does give you the most efficient way to manage all of your sounds. Now, if you're like me, you're going to have loads of different plug-in instruments. You're going to have everything from Silent, Gladiator, Massive, Hybrid, and one of my favorites, Nexus. And these plugins come with a lot of sounds. So how can you efficiently manage these? Well, let me show you now. So I'm in my browser and I can see all of my different plugins, and it tells me how many sounds are inside that plugin. So, you know, that's quite cool, but I can go a step further. So I can say, okay, I actually want to find basses. So I click on basses, and that shorts it down to about 6,000, which is still kind of helpful, but I can go even further. So I can now specify the type of bass that I want. So I can go to a style and say, okay, I actually want to find all of my basses that are electronic. So now I've got all of my electronic style bass sounds, and now I can look through and specify the plug-in instrument of where that came from. So I'll now go to Nexus. So I've now got 100 bass sounds. So now that I've condensed these sounds from 6,000 down to 100, I can simply just go through all these patches. Just keep loading them, just hit them one by one. And if you've got your track playing, you can simply just have your bass line playing and just find the one that you want. It's that simple. So one of the coolest things about VIP is the ability to control your third-party VST effects plugins. So what does this mean? Well, this means that if I pull up any preset or make any multi, I can now start stacking effects plugins directly onto those sounds. So I can start creating all my own patches directly from the keyboard. So let me show you how easy that is to do. So I'm in my browser. I have a simple sound so you can really see what I'm doing. So this is a simple saw wave. Now all I do, I navigate to the top, and you can see it says channel 1, it's massive, and I simply just turn the dial and you can see 1 through to 4. So what that's telling me is that I've got up to 4 inserts available for my effects. So I'm on number 1, and as soon as I turn on to this insert, it will basically shortlist all of my effects plugins that are available. So you can see in my effects, I've got air effects, I've got eventide, I've got fab filter, I've got EQs, so all of that is available. And again, if you've got more effects, you'll see all those in the browser. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the air dynamics delay, and I select that, and I've got 32 presets. So again, VIP will show you all the presets associated to that plugin effects, the same as what we do with instruments. So I go down and I'm going to do a swung delay. So here's my sound, simply press down, and there's the delay. Now I can hit control, and now I can control the mix level, feedback, delay, the time, so we can shorten that, ratio to left and right, stereo width. So if we're happy with that, what we can do now, go back to our browser, go to the top, and we'll add another effect. So we go to number 2, come out of air dynamic delay, and then we'll go down to black hole, and we're going to pick a reverb. So we'll go down and we'll do nebula, and you can see how that's completely changed the sound. So what we can do is go into our control, go to mix, gravity, so now we've created a sound and applied effects. What we can do is save out those effects as an effect stack. And what that means is all the effects that I used on those inserts can be recorded for any other preset sound that you load at any given time. So one of the great things about VIP as well is the multi-layering. This is the facility where you can basically layer different plugins and instruments on top of each other and actually have a maximum of 8. So you can really customize your own sounds within VIP. So how does this work? So let me show you now. Go into our browser, and I basically have a pad up here. And if I want to make that pad my own, I can just layer another plugin over the top. So I go up to here and I move to channel 2, and now I can select any preset, and again I can pick any plugin, any preset to layer over the top of that first instance. So let's pick a plucked sound. And again I can add another layer, so we can go to layer 3. And again, let's just pick another sound. Let's use something like a fat synth. So now that's layered instantly from the keyboard. Now to do that in the DAW is very time consuming. So now we've made our layer. Let me show you how we can actually control that layer from the Control49. So now we've created our multi, and you can see how efficient VIP and Control49 allows you to do that. We can save these multis and actually re-access these from the keyboard. So instead of searching for my presets and my plugins, I can just go into multi, and I can actually see all the multis that I've created. So I can just pull those up in a session, or if I'm playing live, you know, it's kind of endless. So let's go back to that multi that we've created, which is here. So there's the multi, and I'm going to now go into the multi-mixer. So I can control all the volumes of each instance of the plugin. I can mute, I can solo them by using the pads and the switches. And again, really useful if you just want to work on one specific sound. And then you can go into the controls of each instance as well by VIP. So we can just jump through and look at all the parameters associated to each plugin, which again, very, very efficient if you're into editing your own sounds. And another thing I want to show you, which is really, really cool. Now, if you're creating a patch and you want a certain sound to be in a certain part of the keyboard, we can simply do this. So I take my first pad and I press down, and now I've got my low key and high key, so I can specify where I want it on my key group. So I go down, I hold down Shift, and I go C1, and then I go to the top, and I go B1. And now that sound is only going to play in that octave. Everything else is going to be across the keyboard span. So now let's go back to the sounds. So if you're using strings, or you're building up, you know, percussion sounds, and you want them layered and you want them on different key spans of the keyboard, this is how you would do so directly from the Control49 and using VIP. The great thing about the Control49 and VIP is the integration side with your DAW. So the moment I'm running Ableton, and I can basically control everything in a production environment, so I can really get into creating my tracks. So at the moment I've got my mixer environment mapped to my faders, I've got my track mutes on my switches, and I've actually got multiple instances of VIP running. So what does that mean? What that means is each channel that I have VIP on, it still gives me the ability to stack up to 8 instruments and multi-effects on one single channel inside Ableton. Now, and I can access those individual instances purely by going to my main menu, going to page, and now I can see each instance of VIP that I have running inside Ableton. So I'm on my pads now, so let's go back to the main menu. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to record this directly into Ableton now, and then we'll do the drums using the pads, using drum racks. So that part's done there. Play that back. We'll go into Ableton here. Now I'm going to go to my drum racks. And what I've done, I've just simply assigned a bunch of samples directly to the pads. And again, I'm just going to add these over the track. So let's play our drums. play back. Now I can go to my mixer, turn tracks on and off, bring my pads down, bring my bass in, so that kind of gives you a really good overview of how the Control 49 is running inside Ableton and how you can just keep creating tracks one after another. And you don't have to stop there. With VIP, we can go back to any of these tracks. We can go back to, say, our pads, which are here, and I go straight into multi-mode, and then I can just add another pad over the top. So again, I go to my control, go to channel number 2, and I can just select any sound and add this simply over the part. And now I play that and it will be part of the track. Go to my controls. And that's the Control 49 VIP by M Audio, and thank you very much.